you might just need to do a permission thing. It might pop up. I'm just clicking that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we are here live on Facebook. I'm here with the beautiful Fiona Rogan, newly Fiona Rogan, or Fiona Price, here to share with you some really inspiring messages around showing up, around owning your divinity when you've got those everyday things going on. You've got kids. Fiona's got 5 kids. Prior to about 6, 7, 9 months ago, she was doing this by herself with 5 kids, not anymore. With a 9 to 5 and that kind of 3D world where you're dropping your kids to school and you're fully in that world, which is not always how you may choose to be in your private space, that is not necessarily full of a supportive network of other spiritual beings and seekers, and how to do that, and how she found our way to our Beacon community, and also how to then merge your divinity, how to really own your sovereignty when you are still in that world, but also how important it is that we have beacons, that we have light workers, that we have people in the general world, because that is where so much incredible change can happen. So if you don't know me, or you've been following me for a while, or just jumped onto here today, I'm Rebecca Thompson. I'm the founder and creator of Be a Beacon. It's a year-long mastery program for women. We also have 3-day immersions, and it is a sacred path of female leadership, female fulfillment, and a whole awakening journey. I love doing these interviews because it gets me to really reflect on some of our incredible beacons like Fiona, who've been with us for a couple of years now and just stayed in the community, and really feel into the incredible journey that they've been on, and to share with you how just practical, right? How practical this path needs to be, because at the end of the day, we are human beings and we are divine beings in this human body, trying to merge the two and create heaven on earth. And yes, I've been at fault of trying to escape into the etheric realms and all of that, but it doesn't help us when we're then really dealing with the nitty gritty of life. And it is the way of the rose is the merging of these two pathways, which I have found to be such radical change. And, I know that our beacons have too. And to inspire you, perhaps sitting at home or struggling to find where you belong in this, crazy journey that we're on as a global path right now, to inspire you and give you hope that whether it's our community or someone else's, there is somewhere that you belong. You've always belonged. You are divine, and there are practical and powerful and beautiful ways for you to live your highest life, and to create the impact that you want, and to have better health, and to create more abundance, and to have beautiful relationships, and all of those things that are on the tick list. And that there is a lot of power in community, and we've always needed community, and we will always need community to do this work. These modern mystery schools that we're in now, it's nothing new. It's always been there, but we're having to, reframe things and show things in a different way, so that we can live in the world and be of the world, but not of the world. So with that, I want to celebrate Fiona getting here this morning and willing to have a chat with us.
Yes.
Remind me, Fiona, how long I've known you, because I'm thinking, is it 2 years or is it 3 years?
It'll be 2 years. I signed up. This will be my start of my 3rd year. So I'm about to start
2
my
years.
3rd.
Yeah.
So 2 years. Yeah.
And Fiona has always been a shining light. I remember seeing Fiona at one of our Brisbane events all of that time ago.
Yeah.
And we actually used Fiona as one of our kind of like hero images for our events for a while, because she turned around in this beautiful, dark goddess hair. Amazing smile. And I just remember thinking, wow, this woman's going to be a beacon. She has such a beautiful, joyful, radiant presence. And I've witnessed also a huge shift in you in terms of really owning how amazing you are. I can always see it, as with everyone that works with me. But a huge part of our journey is owning that for ourselves, is owning our brilliance. So tell us a bit about how you found us and what kind of place you're in, and perhaps a little about leading up to that point that
Yeah.
people can relate to.
Yeah. Sure. So I had found myself sort of back in a I was bringing myself back out of a really sort of down. I'd been hibernating for about 2 years, hiding out. My circumstances had changed, and I'd found myself having to move back to my mother's, 5 children in tow, and by myself. And it was a really dark place. Like, everyone's lives up and down, but that just, I'd lost faith in myself. I'd lost faith in, I always thought I had great intuition, and that experience really made me lose the trust in myself, the trust in others. And yeah, I was pretty shattered. So for about 12 to 18 months, I would say I was coping.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking after kids and doing all that daily stuff, but outside looked fine generally, but internally
As it often
was,
does to other people.
yeah, exactly. I was smiling and turning up and, doing all that stuff, but internally I had totally lost faith in myself. And yeah, that's pretty sad, really.
Well, it's
I
the
don't think
foundation,
I
isn't
think
it?
now, yeah, I think now I can feel for myself how sad that was. But at the time, I didn't actually realize how painful that was for myself, just because I was in it.
Yes.
I didn't know what it was and couldn't voice why I was feeling so, lost, alone, shattered. Anyway, and didn't know what to look. Anyway, I was on Facebook and scrolling, and up came one of your 3-day things. And I literally don't even remember. It's like those snippets of yourself that come out, like at that 3-day where you saw this, goddess. There was, and I think she just went bang, press the button, we're there. I literally thought it was free. I don't even remember paying for it. I was like, yep, I'll go, it's free. And
well, that was probably that was the half day. So we had, for everyone else,
yeah, it was just
half
a tiny
day
little snippet. And as it was, I didn't know where I was going. I had no idea, but everything aligned, and there I was, and had the 3-day, totally loved it, totally, because I hadn't felt in touch with my body for a very long time, and we did sing in our womb space, and I really felt, wow, this is awesome. I want this, and that part of myself. But then sort of went, yep. And then I went away, and which I had previously done a little bit of, oh, I'll try that, do a little bit, and then I get pulled back. It's not that sort of, you do need that support. You do need that, that hold to keep you going and to keep you, remembering who you are. And so those foundations weren't there. And I remember having a conversation with you, and I was in the car park at the shopping center, and you were like, yeah, and I was, but do you want to do it? Yeah, I want to do it, but I can't do it because, investing in myself, the time, how was I all going to make it happen? And there was a lot of, oh, but I don't know, but I want to do it. And you just said, what do you really want to do? I said, well, my heart, my body, everything about me is telling me that this is what I need to do. But my head was getting in and just throwing all those things out. And luckily, like I usually do, my heart won out, which is always stronger. I'm always led by my heart.
And it's great to just have a pause there and reflect on that, because, having done events for so long, and just to clarify, this was Fiona attending a half day, because you were popping in the 3-day. This is a half day.
Half day, sorry.
Half day intro, and then you joined up for the year.
Yeah.
And we find so many people get caught up in this push-pull, of course, right? It's like, is this going to work for me? Can I invest the time? I don't have the time. I don't have the money. How can I do this when I hold down a 9 to 5 and you want me to come to these events? Like all of this goes on, and yet your body and heart were just like, but it's a yes from me, but it's a no from me. And we know that a lot of the time the no wins out for people when the desire is not strong enough. What do you think? And you had real obstacles, real obstacles that we were like, I can understand that money's an issue, time's an issue with 5 kids, and you're on your own at that point with your work. What would you say to someone that is in that similar situation? Because you've done it and you managed it, and you're still, like, how does that happen when you have like real, in inverted commas, kind of obstacles there?
I think a few people have used a turning point. It's interesting. I didn't think I had a turning point, but that would have been it. You did spend a lot of time on the phone with me at that time, because I'm going blah, 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 for a little while. You were very patient, which I appreciated as I processed.
Well, one of our, is to help people to just get out of their head and into
out of their head. And I think,
exactly,
into my body. And I think I think if we stop and if I stopped and listened, I knew I gave myself that space, and I knew that this was literally the only thing that was going to help me move out of the space of where I was, because I'd spent 2 years, 12 to 18 months. And I wasn't desperate, because life was okay. I was getting better. But for me to truly find that love for myself and that trust for myself, and to do all the things that I knew I wanted to do, this was going to be the vehicle that was going to support me enough, given all of my life distractions, because that's what I needed, was something that was going to give me that year long. Because a weekend, I remember saying, a weekend's not going to be enough, because I'm going to come back and my life is going to swallow me up, and I'm not going to have a strong enough foundation or support network to keep me to that level while I get to the next level,
Exactly. So, because it's a process.
How
do you feel like the universe then supports you in actually being able to pull that off? Because, like say, money feels like an obstacle, time feels like an obstacle. All of those things. And yet you've done it.
I know. And I had a lot of obstacles. Like, I had my youngest daughter, she would have been 5, and she had only ever known me. So she'd never had sleepovers with anyone else. My mum is close, but having 5 children when you're almost 70 is a lot, taking them all to school, doing all of those things that, needed to be done, as well as her farm. And I think once I'd made that decision, the rest just flowed. Like, the hardest part, and I think you hear this all the time, the hardest part was making the decision.
Yes.
And once I made the decision and then plucked up the courage to say to my mum, hey, would you help me out with this? Which was the week was amazing. And the space was just created for me to attend. Somehow I've made it happen.
And I think that's it.
Somehow. The decision was the worst part.
Thank you for that. And anyone listening to this who's found themselves in this situation, I say this, but it doesn't always help when I say it. It's great to hear it from somebody else. But that is the hardest part. The hardest part of any part of this kind of awakening journey, but when you're committing to something like this, of getting the community and the support, is saying yes to yourself, is getting the head out the way long enough just to get fully on board. Because if it's an embodied yes, which is why I spend time on the phone with people, is to get an embodied yes and get out of the head. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's a yes, it's a yes. But when we get a truly embodied yes, then grace is with you. The divine is with you. It's soul aligned. And so you will make it happen. And, we're always good at payment plans and all of that stuff, like making that stuff happen. But everything else will align.
Yeah.
And you are a glowing example of all of that.
It did. I don't even know how it all like I'm just
I
like, how
know.
did that all happen? But anyway, that's awesome. Just
But it
I
did,
don't
and
worry
it
about
does.
that. It's good. Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
talk a bit about like some of the things that happened in your life prior to this that have been challenges, I guess. You know, we find ourselves in the situation we're in now, but those kind of hidden beliefs, those hidden fears, the ancestral stuff, the experiences we have in our young adulthood or our childhood have kind of created this whole network of mind limitations and beliefs, right, that we've been unraveling and dealing with, that are limiting us showing up and being seen and being heard. And I know, Fiona, when we've spoken before, probably one of your biggest things is around this self-worth and being seen. And some of this goes back to this life, and some of this goes back to other lives that we're unraveling and more loving who you are. Can you speak to that a little bit about some of the things that you've identified either from this lifetime or others that have come to you through this?
Yeah. I think the challenges has been, I've always known that I'm, let's say, a little bit different than I've had different opinions. I've always felt life is to be amazing and life is not hard and life is joyous and exuberant and fun, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So I have this feeling, but then I was brought up in a very, you have to work hard and work hard and life is about making money and doing this and creating this and blah blah blah, so very structured. So there was always that push and pull with myself as to how, and that was a big challenge, because the truest part of myself was, hey, this is fun and this is supposed to be great and life's for you, and you're supported. But then at the same time, I was brought up where, well, no, actually, if you don't work hard and if you don't go after it yourself. So that's a huge challenge and a big belief system and I think from this, I feel, wow, I was right. Like all of those feelings, I was right, the validation. That was a big challenge, being too much in that. Because when you love life and when you feel everything's going to work out and life is joyous, and I was like that as a child, you become too much for people, because you can trigger people's fears, trigger there, because if you're having a great time all the time and life's just working out as it does, then people can squash that, because they're like, well, why is she having a good time? Why is life so easy? She shouldn't be doing this, and blah 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 blah. And so then that caused me to retract a lot, because you can't, I couldn't show up, particularly as a younger child and adult, show up in this truer self when it was just met with negativity and met with, well, that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is.
And that's such a potent combination. If we just sort of feel into that for a moment, because I know so many people will relate, the combination of being trained to think that we have to work hard and do things a certain way to do stuff, and the being shut down to sort of say, well, the true expression of myself is too much, so I've got to be smaller than that. So I've got to be smaller than I am, and I've got to work really hard to kind of get where I am. Like, just even saying those words, right, feels like so contracting, and no wonder we do all sorts of things to try and numb that experience and feel that we're so invalidated with the truth of who we are. Huge. And then you had a bit of an added component around religion and your upbringing. Was that with school more than anything? Just
that was not necessarily school. Growing up in the bush, we did have a church at people's houses, but I have always had a strong faith in God. But God I use in a very broad term. For me, God is universe, is the essence of who we are, like is just that big, I don't know, force. So I use the word God however you want to see that, rather than a person. And when I have had Christian friends, so it's been a challenge because I also love yoga and believe in past lives. And so for me, when I went to church and were doing things like that, was trying to meld, there was a real conflict because for me, God was all loving, or and was an energy and something that we were all birthed on and still a part of. And so then I was sent to a boarding school where I was then told, well, actually, it's this person, and you have to, if you don't live like this and you don't do these things. And so there was that conflict because, again, in that spiritual side where, well, for me, it's this all, I know it's this all loving and this beautiful for me and wants me to see, wants me to do well. But then there's this wrath and this, and then it was
Punishment
very
model.
punishment. Yeah. And very, very, yeah. So that caused a lot of conflict in my faith as well, because I couldn't make it meld between what I knew in my heart of what God was for me and what it meant to be someone. Like, I went into a church recently, have been a few times into, but I go for a little while and then I get disappointed because it becomes this very dictated in a certain way. And then that community part just gets, I go, oh, then that's okay, and because I also I have a bit of that what's the word, spiritual. So I love yoga. We can't love yoga if you're a Christian. And I love crystals and I love past life. And, I've had past life experiences myself. So that sort of, for me, that was a part of me as well that I didn't know how it fit, and it didn't fit until I
in that
got to that
paradigm.
point.
That's
It
right.
didn't fit. It hadn't fit. And so there was a lot of conflict with myself, actually reflecting now in many, many areas of my life where I didn't belong. But that essence, if I sat and listened and felt and I knew, because I think everybody knows. I think I've said once to you, everyone has that spark, that part of them.
But if you think about those boxes we talked about before, the contraction of so many of us feeling, or so many people not feeling seen and not feeling heard, not feeling like they can be their true selves, feeling like they have to work super hard, is effort for reward, feeling like they're going to get punished if they don't do the right thing by some kind of, unseen,
whatever,
demonic god. Something. Not feeling like their true beliefs are validated, not feeling like that they can even have a thought or a belief outside of the paradigm of the, I'm going to say universal belief, but majority belief, let's say that. So these are three really core fundamental like wounds. And Fiona's been with us a while because we work on this lifetime, and then as the beacons progress, we're starting to unravel other lifetimes, and obviously ancestral wounds and all of that, because beliefs and contracts around religion, being seen and being heard, things that may have happened to us in other times, not only this time, the whole belief around work. These are fundamental core woundings that so much of humanity is dealing with. So you've been working with a lot of this. Feeling better now. But just sort of in a little bit of a nutshell, because this work is always evolving, and the kids don't suddenly leave, and you can't suddenly stop working, and now you're in relationship, right? So you're still living in this sort of 3D world, as we all are. Some of us get to sort of move, but you're very much still in it. And
yes, I am.
I love that. I love that you're a shining light amidst all of that. How do you feel now in that compared to how you did at the beginning from this work?
Oh, wow. Gee, massive contrast. I was very heavy. I was very much caught up in drama. I think caught up in small stuff that already my very busy life, organizing the children, running the household, being where I needed to be, making sure everyone had enough money, all of that sort of stuff was was already very busy. So then adding in any sort of drama like, the children didn't do the right thing or parenting or whatever, I was always in this very heightened state. So it was much like and not in a washing machine either, just, well, a little bit, because I was very much reactive.
Yeah.
It was very reactive, always reactive. So there was a lot of anger. There was a lot of, shouting. I'm not a bad parent, by the way, but there was a lot of heightened, yeah. And so now, and then the workplace, I was busy, 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 busy. So it was all very, there was no space, there was no breathing. And in contrast, now I'm just as busy, if not busier, in a lot of ways. And I'm definitely calmer. There is space. I'm not shouting. I'm not feeling like I'm always trying to catch myself, and always that internal going that, I know a lot of people feel. And if I do, let's be honest, if I do get caught in that because I haven't had a good sleep, or, or whatever else happens, I find I can catch myself and I can take a breath. I'm definitely a lot kinder when I do get caught up. So instead of being, oh, well, that's the end, I might have a glass of wine, or I might eat shit food, or not look after myself. Now I can just breathe and, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So important, because that guilt spiral we were talking about, just sets us back so much further than the thing we actually did wrong.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's not even, it wasn't even anything anyway, nothing. I might have just, been a little bit unreasonable with the child, and I'm like, oh God, or whatever.
Yeah.
So just
what does that mean for your life overall, to be calmer, not be feeling like chasing your tail, know that your nervous system is dropped down, not going into those loop spirals?
What does it feel like? What does it mean?
Because it's not just you, it's everyone, isn't it, in your family?
Oh yeah.
Your new partner as well.
Yes.
Husband.
Yeah, well, that's being challenging in itself, isn't it? Bringing someone into a busy household. It has meant that I know definitely for my children, my discussions with them, and even the way I parent has changed, in that I encourage them more. I use language like, well, how are you feeling about that? And rather than telling them what I think, I allow them that space. Or if they're having, I've still got an 8-year-old, if she's, having a meltdown because of whatever's happening in her little land, little world, just allowing that for her, rather than being, having to control the situation or expecting something from her, is just allowing whatever is, knowing that, truly knowing that everything's fine. Like, that's just small stuff. And I think when you're in that heightened all the time, everything feels big.
Yeah.
But when I allow myself that space and I can just relax, everything in like that, well, everything actually feels quite manageable, feels small. I go, okay, it's going to be fine. She may have a tantrum for an hour. I can wait. Or, such and such crashed his car. Well, that's okay. I can wait, whatever it is, I know, I feel I'm going to manage it. I'm going to have the tools. I'm going to be okay in whatever happens, and how I need to navigate this physical world, because I'm very much in this physical world on a daily basis.
But now you're embodying your divinity within it, right? And being able to be this unwavering presence we talk about. And not only is that great, obviously, for your health, your relationships, your parenting, and your work, which we'll talk about in a moment, but you're showing your kids a way of doing things. you know, and if we think, we just spoke before about all the things that we inherit this lifetime and others, they're going to come through with their own other lifetime stuff. But they're seeing through you a different way of responding rather than reacting. They're being allowed to have their emotions. They're being allowed to be seen and heard and be themselves, and, you know, already dissolving. Helping them to flourish in an environment that it's,
I love that.
Be them.
Yeah, I love that, because, you know, so good.
And that's gold, right there. You know, Fiona's still very much in the full-on like parenting role, and sending 5 beautiful little beacons out into the world, you know, that are seeing things from a different perspective and can take that. And I know for myself, and you might have seen it, we think our kids aren't absorbing this stuff, and now mine are like 16, 19, and they'll say things to me, or they'll reflect on things, and I'll be like, that's a very me thing to say, you know? Where they've resisted a lot of that learning, you think, growing up, but they can't help but absorb it, and they do become these very independent thinkers and independent feelers, and that's what we need, isn't it? Moving forward. Oh my goodness.
And kind people, you know, we need kindness. Kind to yourself and kind to others.
So true. So how has this shifted? I know that you are, you know, as the kids grow, you're exploring your incredible talents. Fiona is an amazing healer and energy worker and kinesiology with a difference, and obviously balancing that with day-to-day stuff has been a challenge. So you're also working in, you know, another arena at the moment. So how has that impacted how you see yourself in the workplace, and also how you see that role?
This the Be a Beacon has I think it's given me the, like I was mentioning before, I wasn't feeling, couldn't trust myself, and how could I show up as a kinesiologist and expect others to? So I just, you know, threw everything apart. So the Be a Beacon's definitely giving me that confidence to gain the momentum again of wanting to build a business, impact the lives, and like some of my journaling back many years ago, of what I wanted that felt so out of reach, is what I wanted, the impact that I wanted to make, what I felt I could do for others, is really feeling more tangible, is really feeling like it's something that I can navigate, I can build within my day-to-day life now. I don't need to have, well, I've got to do this for my family now, and if I get time, I'll do this, which is what I really love to do. I think I feel the Beacon, this work is actually going, well, hey, hang on, you can do both. You can, so little by little, it's building. I can feel momentum, the trust in myself, because it's proven. I know I can do it. I know, you know, I've done it, and when I get into my space and work with a client, it's powerful, and it's joyous, and it's loving, and it's you know, what I was here for, part of what I was here for.
Exactly. Part of. Because it's also about bloom where you're planted, isn't it? And for, you know, the work that you're doing now, you're still having a huge impact, showing up in a different way within that kind of bit more of a 3D environment.
Well, I know, I remember when I went to one of the 3 days after I got this new job in the retail setting, because it works school hours and this sort of thing. And I remember thinking, wow, first of all, I was like, I don't want to do this. And then I got in there and I realized, wow, I was given these opportunities to have conversations, plant seeds, challenge, which excites me, challenge people's thinking about what life is for them or what they can do. And so I can now appreciate, I don't feel I need to be in a spiritual environment and be living, taking myself removed from, you know, 3D or physical, but being in that everyday environment where I can, have conversations with people and plant seeds and encourage others and wake people up to, yes, what I think. Life is fun. Life is easy. Life is joyous. Life is, for you. It's for you, and it's for you to enjoy and create, and just so that
Just
excites me too.
it is so exciting. It is. And I hear so many people negating and putting themselves down when they work in retail or say in an office or wherever, that they don't feel is their soul's mission. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. We're here to not separate ourselves. We're here to integrate. You're here to plant your beaconness amidst all of that and shine your light through just the power of your presence. Like you say, through those different things that you say, giving others permission to feel, think in a different way, the ripple effect is not far greater, but it's far reaching still. That environment, and so needed. And isn't it a great training ground for being able to hold your presence and hold your embodiment of your divinity in that situation, so that if and when soul calls you to step out and do something else or lead in front of a camera or a stage or whatever, you've built the capacity to really do that in a pretty challenging environment.
Yes, I'm definitely grateful for that. And I had this belief system. Oh my goodness, I don't want to do, I felt like I was going back, which was such an ego thing. So when I sat and was able to be present, I was like, wow, what an opportunity, another opportunity for me. Not just, the challenges of 5 children or being a single parent, or let's go. Yay, another opportunity. And I'm grateful, and I'm having a good time right now. It's what I'm doing. I'm building up the kinesiology, just doing word of mouth, working with friends, building my confidence in that as well again. And but loving that fun of going in and having conversations with customers that are coming in, and maybe just listening to how their day was, or giving them that space as well to be heard.
Totally. And remembering, like you say, it's our ego that often wants things to look differently, that sometimes puts value on us showing up in one way or another. It's not about where and what we do showing up, it's how we show up. It's the presence that we embody, and our soul will always guide us to where we can be of the highest good at any moment, and train us in our capacity of wherever it thinks we need to be. And it's our job to just be in non-resistance to that and enjoy the ride. Hey, love it. So good. And Fiona's also involved with, we've got a really exciting project this year. Beacons are putting together a theatre production. Fiona's involved with that because she's also an amazing musician. There's lots of things this woman does. Where we're going to be weaving together our stories through movement and visual and song, and it's really exciting. So another huge expansion in our personal development around being seen and heard, showing up. We're all excited for that.
Yay. Yes.
So if you had a sort of leaving message for everyone, and I just want to apologize if people are popping messages down here, we don't get to always see the comments coming up in the live, so I'll just be jumping on afterwards. And if anyone feels they want to ask Fiona or myself any questions or any comments, we'll be checking on those afterwards. I know there might have been a couple of little in and outs with our feed through this, with our connection, but I think on the replay it's all going to be fine from past experience. So Fiona, if there's a message that you would give to someone, imagine yourself perhaps, like 3 years ago in a similar, situation to you and where you were then, that was sitting there, and the discomfort that you might have felt at that time, what might you say to someone? What advice would you give them?
Do follow your heart and make that decision, and because once you've made that decision, the universe and your soul self and the essence of who you are, it'll happen. It'll happen. So not necessarily just you are worth it, because you are worth it, but don't get caught up in all the hows, the shoulds, the what's gonna, I can't make it, all that mind stuff that feels light and feels busy in your head.
Yeah.
If in your heart there is and you will feel it, because everyone has that, it'll be just go for it, and don't worry, because you'll always
Yeah. Don't
don't
worry
worry
about it. Stuff.
don't worry about anything else, because it truly, if I still go, I don't even know how I made that happen, and it's still happening. I'm still making space, and
Yeah.
it's just so worth it. Like, my life is indescribable, and the impact I'm having on my family as well. My relationships with my children are just so much more pleasant, enjoyable, and I'm being that parent that I wanted to be without all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was one thing.
That was
Just do it.
perfect. Feel, trust, say yes. The rest of it will work itself out.
It'll
When you're
work out.
soul aligned, it
Yeah.
works it out. Thank you so much.
you.
And we are loving seeing your continued journey. And it's so
Yes.
exciting. Yeah, seeing your creativity come out,
Yeah.
all of that goodness. Just love it.
I'm excited too.
We're all excited. And so if anyone is sort of interested in what we're talking about here, you're feeling the pull, going, want to know a little bit more about this Beacon community. We do have a 3-day coming up on the 2nd to the 4th. People can join us for a whole year mastery on a 3-day, or you can just come and put your foot in the water and just do a 3-day, and you can choose to upgrade if you want to. So we've got a really super duper amazing, incredible, lowest ever special offer to start the year, in the year of the 7. Very amazing. So if you've been hovering on the edges for a while, or even if you just heard about us, check it out. Just pop a little, yes, please send me some info in the link in the comments box below. What my assistant or myself will send you a link to that, because that special offer is finishing tomorrow night on the 11th. It's been a 7-day special offer. So do reach out to us. 2nd to the 4th, North Brisbane. It's an in-person event. And oh, here we go. My beautiful assistant has stuck the link in the chat. Thank you, Tina. You're amazing. So the link is already down there, or you can reach out any questions that you might have. Thanks again, Fiona. Go forth and have an amazing day. Much love to everyone else and anyone watching this now on the replay. Mwah. Love to everyone. Have a great day.